Dallas, Texas. North Dallas, private training facility. September 14th, 1994. Thursday afternoon, 4:30 in the evening. The air inside the dojo is cool, climate-controlled against the Texas heat, but the atmosphere carries a different kind of intensity. This is Chuck Norris's private training facility, a space built for serious practice and serious martial artists who understand the difference between performance and application. The dojo is approximately 2,000 square feet of polished hardwood floor, natural oak that has absorbed decades of footwork and sweat. The walls are lined with traditional training equipment, heavy bags, makiwara striking posts, wooden dummies, and weapon racks. One wall displays photographs of Chuck with Bruce Lee, championship victories, and Walker, Texas Ranger. Each tells a story of dedication and respect for martial arts as a way of life. 12 people are present this afternoon. 8 are Chuck's advanced students, black belts who have trained under him for years. 2 are visiting instructors from other traditional schools. 1 is a documentary filmmaker following Chuck for a project about American martial arts. And 1 is Jet Li, 31 years old, former Chinese wushu champion, actor whose films have been making waves in Asian cinema. Jet Li's presence in Dallas is not accidental. He is in the United States for preliminary meetings about potential Hollywood projects. Through mutual contacts, an introduction to Chuck Norris was arranged. Chuck, who values genuine martial artists over celebrities, invited Jet Li to his private dojo, curious about the man behind the reputation. The contrast between the two men is immediately apparent. Chuck Norris stands 5 feet 10 inches, approximately 175 pounds, a lifetime martial artist conditioned through thousands of hours of training and competition. At 54 years old, he moves with the confidence of someone who has won 6 world championships. He wears a traditional white dobok, his 6th-degree black belt tied with military precision. Jet Li stands 5 feet 6 inches, approximately 135 pounds, smaller in every dimension except speed. His build is lean, economical, emphasizing efficiency and generating force through technique rather than mass. He wears simple black training clothes, no uniform, no belt, no visible markers of rank. To someone unfamiliar with elite martial arts, he might look out of place. But those who know recognize perfect balance, complete relaxation, and an alertness that suggests his nervous system processes information faster than conscious thought. The training session has been informal but focused. Chuck demonstrated Tang Soo Do combinations, explaining biomechanics, chamber position, and targeting strategies. His teaching emphasizes fundamentals over flashy techniques. Jet Li has watched with genuine interest, occasionally asking questions that reveal deep understanding. When Chuck explained reverse punch mechanics, Jet Li commented that using ground reaction force through the legs is universal across all effective striking systems. The observation earned approving looks from those who recognize true understanding of combat movement. As the formal session winds down, Chuck dismisses his students to practice independently. He turns to Jet Li, and there is a moment of mutual recognition between two men who have reached the highest levels of their arts. Chuck gestures toward the center. According to those present, he speaks first. "I've been watching your movement. Wushu has some of the most beautiful forms in martial arts. But I've always wondered about application. In Tang Soo Do, everything we practice has to work against resistance. How does Wushu translate when someone is actually trying to hit you?" Jet Li responds, his tone respectful. "Forms teach principles. The movements develop attributes. Speed, timing, body awareness. But yes, application is different from demonstration. In China, we also test it against resistance, just not in the same format." Chuck nods. Then he makes a suggestion that changes the afternoon. "Would you be interested in a demonstration? Not sparring, not competition. Just showing each other how our systems approach the same problem." The observers shift their attention to the center. Everyone understands they are about to witness something rare. 2 masters from different traditions, testing principles with mutual respect. Jet Li agrees with a slight bow. The terms are established quickly. No protective gear, no rules beyond mutual control. Chuck will execute techniques with genuine intent. Jet Li will respond naturally. The goal is to learn. They move to the center. The observers position themselves along the walls. The documentary filmmaker adjusts his camera, though Chuck has made it clear this footage is for private study only. Chuck settles into traditional Tang Soo Do ready position. Front foot forward, rear foot angled, weight distributed 60 to 40, front hand extended, rear hand chambered. The stance of a fighter who has used this position in hundreds of matches. Jet Li stands in casual neutral position. Feet parallel, shoulder width apart, hands relaxed at his sides. To a casual observer, unprepared. But the experienced martial artists watching recognize perfect balance and readiness that does not require visible tension. For approximately 5 seconds, neither man moves. The silence is complete. Just climate control and two men breathing, reading each other, processing information. Chuck moves first. He executes a side thrust kick, Yoko Jerry, a fundamental technique and one of his signature attacks. The kick is executed with the speed, power, and precision that won him 6 world championships. His rear leg chambers, hips rotate, and his kicking leg extends toward Jet Li's midsection with rib-breaking force. Textbook perfect, but something happens that makes every observer lean forward. Jet Li's right hand rises and makes contact with Chuck's ankle at the exact moment when the kick is 70% extended. The contact is light, almost delicate, just fingertips touching the inside of Chuck's ankle. And Chuck Norris's kick stops. Not slowed, not deflected. Stopped. The leg remains extended in the air, frozen mid-technique, unable to complete the final 30%. Chuck's face registers surprise, genuine confusion about what just occurred. He attempts to push through, but the gentle contact has disrupted something fundamental in the technique structure. Chuck retracts, resets, and his expression shows concentration and competitive focus. He prepares to attack again. He launches the same kick with a variation, aiming lower. The result is identical. Jet Li's hand is there, at the ankle, at the precise moment, and the kick stops in midair. Chuck tries a third time, faster, with less telegraph. Same result. What the observers witness contradicts normal understanding of defensive techniques. Blocks meet force with force. Evasions create distance. But Jet Li is doing neither. He is touching a specific point at a specific moment with timing so precise that the technique's mechanical structure collapses before completion. It is not strength. It is not speed alone. It is timing calibrated to a level that operates outside normal reaction parameters. Chuck steps back and speaks. His voice carries respect and frustration. How are you doing that? I'm executing the technique correctly, but you're stopping it before it completes. Are you reading my setup? Jet Li responds quietly. I am not reading your setup. By the time your hip rotates, the kick is already committed. I am seeing the moment between intention and action. There is a space where the body prepares to move before it actually moves. In that space, your balance shifts, your weight commits, and the technique becomes predictable. I am responding to the preparation, not the technique. Chuck processes this. As someone who sparred with Bruce Lee, he understands exactly what Jet Li is describing. Bruce talked about the same principle, but understanding it intellectually and experiencing it are completely different. He tries 2 more techniques. A roundhouse kick, executed with competition speed. Jet Li's hand touches his shin at maximum extension, and the kick's power dissipates. Then a lunging reverse punch, driven by full hip rotation. Jet Li's left hand makes contact with Chuck's wrist at the precise angle where the punch's structure becomes unsound, and the fist passes harmlessly to the side. The demonstration lasts approximately 3 minutes. Chuck Norris executes 5 different techniques with genuine intent and competition-level skill. Not one completes. Not because Jet Li is faster in any conventional sense, but because his timing exists at a level where he responds to attacks before they fully manifest. When they finish, both men bow. The respect is mutual and obvious. Chuck extends his hand, and Jet Li shakes it. According to those present, Chuck speaks first. I've been competing and teaching for 35 years. I've trained with Bruce Lee, who showed me things I didn't think were possible. But what you just demonstrated is something different. You're operating in spaces between moments that I know exist intellectually, but I've never encountered someone who can actually function there consistently. Jet Li's response was humble. You have perfect technique. Everything you did was correct, but I have spent 25 years training to see those moments. In Chinese martial arts, we practice exercises that develop a different kind of awareness. And perhaps it only works because I am smaller and cannot rely on power. I had to learn to see what others miss. The documentary filmmaker later reported that the atmosphere after the demonstration was unlike anything he had witnessed. There was no ego, no triumph, no humiliation, just two masters acknowledging different approaches to the same goal. Chuck's senior students were processing what they had seen. Several later reported that it changed their understanding of what was possible, that watching someone stop their teacher's techniques through precise timing demonstrated principles they had heard about, but never witnessed applied against world-class technique. Chuck and Jet Li spoke for another 30 minutes, discussing training methodologies and the evolution of martial arts. Both expressed interest in training together more extensively if schedules allowed. The documentary footage was never publicly released per Chuck's request. He felt the demonstration was a private learning experience. The filmmaker respected that, though he later described the footage as some of the most technically significant martial arts material he had ever recorded. The two visiting instructors told their students what they witnessed, and the story spread through traditional circles. Some dismissed it as exaggeration, but those who knew Chuck's character understood he would never allow false stories to circulate, and his own comments confirmed everything occurred. Jet Li returned to Asia shortly after, continuing his film career and eventually transitioning to Hollywood. Chuck Norris continued teaching and developing his schools. But according to those close to both men, they maintained mutual respect and occasional communication. September 14, 1994. Dallas, Texas. 12 witnesses. 3 minutes that demonstrated something most martial artists spend their lives trying to understand. That true mastery is not about superior strength or speed. It is about perception, timing, and the ability to see what others cannot, to function in the spaces between moments where combat is decided before it becomes visible. The karate champion learned that perfection of technique is not the end of the journey. And the wushu master demonstrated that some principles transcend style, nationality, or training methodology. In the end, both men walked away with deeper respect for martial arts as a lifelong study that always reveals new layers, new understanding, new humility.